peasants, peasant or peasants movements in India. Peasant movements in India. That is the part of Indian history. That is the part of Indian history. Now at first, peasants. The definition of peasant. P-E-A-S-N-T. Peasant. Peasant. A person who owns or rents a small piece of land, on which he by sea grows crops for us. That is called peasant. A person who owns or rents a small piece of land on which he by sea grows crops for us. Now, peasant movements. At first, Titumir movement. As called Titumir peasant movement. Titumir was a peasant. Titumir was a peasant leader who resisted the operation of the local jamindars and European indigo planters. Titumir's real name was Sayyid. Titurmir's real name was Sayyid Nisar Ali. Sayyid Mir Nisar Nisar Ali. Titurmir movement. Titurmir was a peasant who was a leader who resisted the oppression of the local jamindars and European indigo planters. Titurmir real name was Sayyid Mir Nisar Ali. Titurmir Titumir led the Narkar-Beria uprising in the year 1831. Titurmir led the Narkar-Beria uprising in 1831 in Bengal province. Against Jamindars and British colonial Titumur. That time Lord William Bentinck was the Governor General of Bengal. Now question from here. Titurmir movement was led by Titurmir against Jamindars and British colonial. Continue. Now next question from Peasant movement, Pagalpanthi movement. Next, Peasant movement, Pagalpanthi movement. Pagalpanthi movement was a peasant movement the leader Karam Shah and his son Tipu Shah were the Karam Shah and Tipu Shah was the son of Karam Shah, were the leaders of the Pagalpanthi movement. Pagalpanthi movement. Pagalpanthi movement started by Karam Shah. It was Pagalpanthi movement started by Karam Shah. It was it was a mixture. Pagalpanthi movement, it was a mixture of the Hinduism, Sufism, and animism. Hado-Garo, next Hodi-Garo and Hozang tribe took part in Pagalpanthi movement. Pagalpanthi movement. Hodi tribe leaders, Janku Pathar and Devraj Pathar. The movement, Pagalpanthi, the movement was started in the northern Mymensingh, Mymensingh and Sherpur district areas of area of the Bengal province. Now, Hodi leaders, the tribe of Hodi, yes, Jangu Pathar and Devraj Pathar took part in the Pagalpanthi movement in the area, northern area, Mansingh and Sherpur district areas of Bengal province. That is from Pagalpanthi movement. The leader of Pagalpanthi, first Karam Shah and Tipu Shah, the leader of Pagalpanthi. Now, some tribes took part. Hazong, Hodi are the tribes took part in Pagalpanthi movement. Now, next question. Indigo movement. Indigo movement. Indigo movement. Indigo movement. Indigo movement. MOV. Indigo movement took place. Indigo movement, also known as নীল বিদ্রোহ। নীল বিদ্রোহ। নীল বিদ্রোহ। Indigo movement, also known as নীল বিদ্রোহ, took place in Nadia district, at present Nadia district of Bengal, West Bengal, present day West Bengal. West Bengal. In the year 1859. In the 1859. Indigo movement. The Indigo movement was a peasant movement. Was a peasant movement. It was revolted. Indigo revolt was revolted against British against British the peasant are also called farmers of the Nadia had to forced to grow indigo. Farmers of Nadia had forced to grow indigo. Indigo was in high demand in worldwide. European planters forced the peasants to grow indigo in place of food crops. European planters forced the peasants to grow indigo in place of food crops. If farmers refused to grow indigo if farmers refuse to grow indigo, the farmers were brutally, the farmers were brutally oppressed by European planters forced the peasants to grow indigo in place of food crops. If farmers refused to grow indigo, the farmers were brutally oppressed by Europeans. By Europeans. The farmers were revolted against British and Europeans. The leaders of the Indigo Revolt, या movement, Indigo movement or revolt. The leaders of the Indigo movement or revolt were Biswas brothers. Digambar Biswas, Vishnu Biswas. First, Vishnu Biswas, and second, Digambar Biswas. Vishnu Biswas or Digambar Biswas were the leader of Indigo movement. Now, Indigo movement. On Indigo movement, Neel Darpan was a Bengali play. Neel Darpan Bengali play was written by Dinbandhu Mitra. Neel Darpan was a Bengali play. Neel Darpan play was written by Dinbandhu Mitra. Acha, Neel Darpan also called in English mirror of Indigo. Mirror of Indigo. Mirror of Indigo. The Bengali play Nil Darpan. The Bengali play Nil Darpan was translated into the Bengali play Nil Darpan was translated into English by the Bengali poet and dramatist Michael Madhusudan Datta. On Indigo movement, Nil Darpan was Bengali play Nil Darpan, also known the Mirror of Indigo, also called Mirror of Indigo. Nil Darpan was written by Dinbandhu Mitra. The Bengali play Nil Darpan was translated into English by the Bengali poet and dramist Michael Madhusudan Dutt. Yeah. And Nil Darpan was of Michael Madhusudan Dutt. Madhusudan Dutt. Nil Darpan of Michael Madhusudan Dutt, that was in English, was published by the Reverend James Long, for which he was sentenced to prison. And charged with sedition. Reverend James Long was a clergy. He was a clergy. That is the member of church who published the Nil Darpan. For that, he was sentenced to prison and charged with sedition. That is from the Indigo movement. Now question for Indigo movement. Indigo movement took place in the year 1859. The leader of two brothers, Digambar Biswas and Vishnu Biswas. Two brothers were leader of Indigo movement. Indigo movement came to end in the year 1861. The Indigo movement came to end in the year 18